Seneca's Letter 10 on living to oneself. Yes, I do not change my opinion. Avoid the many, avoid the few, avoid even the individual. I know of no one with whom I would be willing to have you shared. And see what an opinion of you I have, for I dare to trust you with your own self. Crates, they say, the disciple of the very Stilbo, whom I mentioned in a former letter, noticed a young man walking by himself, and asked him, "What is he doing all alone?" "I am communing with myself," replied the youth. "Pray be careful then," says Crates, "and take good heed. You are communing with a bad man." When persons are in mourning or fearful about something, we are accustomed to watch them that we may prevent them from making a wrong use of their loneliness. No thoughtless person ought to be left alone. In such cases, he only plans folly and heaps up future dangers for himself or others. He brings into play his base desires. The mind displays what fear or shame used to repress. It whets his boldness, stirs his passions, and goads his anger. And finally, the only benefit that solitude confers, the habit of trusting no man and of fearing no witness, is lost to the fool, for he betrays himself. Mark, therefore, what my promises are for you, nay, rather, what I'm promising myself. Inasmuch as hope is merely the title of an uncertain blessing, I do not know any person with whom I should prefer you to associate rather than yourself. I remember in what a great-souled way you hurled forth certain phrases, and how full of strength they were. I immediately congratulated myself and said, "These words did not come from the edge of the lips. These utterances have solid foundation. This man is not one of the many. He has regard for his real welfare. Speak and live in this way. See to it that nothing keeps you down. As for your former prayers, you may dispense the gods from answering them. Offer new prayers. Pray for a sound mind and for good health, first of soul and then of body. And, of course, you should offer those prayers frequently. Call boldly upon God. You will not be asking him for that which belongs to another. But I must, as is my custom, send a little gift along with this letter. It is a true saying which I have found in Athenodorus. Know that thou art freed from all desires when thou hast reached such a point that thou prayest to God for nothing except what thou canst pray for openly. But how foolish men are now! They whisper the basest of prayers to heaven, but if anyone listens, they are silent at once. That which they are unwilling for men to know, they communicate to God. Do you not think, then, that some such wholesome advice as this could be given you? Live among men as if God beheld you. Speak with God as if men were listening. Farewell. How Seneca's Letter 10 speaks to us today. Solitude is powerful, but only if we know how to be alone with ourselves. Seneca warns that most people are not ready to be alone. In silence, we often meet not our best selves, but our most impulsive, chaotic thoughts. And if we haven't trained our minds, solitude can make us reckless. Today, we fill every quiet moment with noise, podcasts, playlists, scrolls, screens. Silence feels threatening, but Seneca flips the script. He says the real danger is not being alone, it's not knowing how to use that aloneness well. He urges us to live in such a way that our private thoughts could be made public, to trust ourselves with ourselves, and to pray not for fortune or success, but for soundness of soul, something no one can give us and no one can take away. Some questions to reflect on. Number one, how do you feel in silence? At ease or uneasy? Number two, can you trust your private thoughts to match your public values? And number three, what would you change if your only prayer was for a sound mind? This one hits close to home. I'm recently single, and being alone in your own head can be a difficult place. I think that's what Seneca is pointing at, that we should be able to sit with ourselves without feeling under threat. Not just tolerate solitude, but actually find peace in it. I'm nowhere near the rainbow body of Tibetan Buddhism, but I do notice how some people can't sit still. I'm always curious what they're running from. I once heard someone say, you should meditate for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're really busy, then you should meditate for an hour. Seneca's not telling us to become hermits. He's saying that most people never learn how to be alone in a useful way. Think about it. Do you turn on music or the TV as soon as you get home? How long can you sit in silence before you reach for your phone? I see people who can't walk a flight of stairs without scrolling. When we're left with our own thoughts, we start to notice our habits. The impulses show up, and if there's nothing solid inside us, the silence doesn't calm us. It unsettles us. Couple that with a dopamine addiction to constant scrolling, and most of us don't really know who we are anymore. The idea of living among people as if God were watching and speaking to God as if people were listening, whether you're religious or not, is a powerful concept. It's a test of inner consistency, of having nothing to hide, even from yourself. Depends on where I'm at. If I'm feeling steady, silence is like a reset. I slow down, I can hear myself again, the noise drops, and clarity comes in. But if I'm out of alignment, if I've been avoiding something, then silence gets uncomfortable. That's when I find myself reaching for distractions, scrolling through my phone, watching things I don't even care about. Being alone with yourself is the real test. It's not about judging it, just observing it. A question I often ask myself is, what am I hiding from when it gets quiet? This is a big one. Years ago, I had a brilliant secretary who told me about a conversation she had with a friend. They imagined a world where every word and thought appeared in speech and thought bubbles, like a cartoon. Could you live in that world? I honestly don't think I could, but it's a powerful mental exercise. What would society look like if everyone's thoughts were visible? I think we'd elect different leaders for sure. We'd probably be more forgiving too, more compassionate, especially with strangers. Joe Rogan once said something that stuck with me. When someone's rude, say a checkout worker, you don't know what they're going through. You're judging them on 5 seconds of behaviour without any context. The challenge is aligning your private self with your public one. That's difficult because we're often trying to control how the world sees us. But life's short. Be yourself. Say what matters. And if you get those last moments before death to think, you really want to be at peace. I think that's why older people often stop filtering what they say. They're closer to that moment, and they want truth, not performance. It simplifies everything. If I stop asking for outcomes, or comfort, or achievement, and just focus on having a steady, clear, honest mind, everything else seems to follow. A sound mind doesn't mean an easy life. It just means you're not lying to yourself about the struggle. You're not making it worse by denying it or blaming everyone else. It also means not running internal arguments, rehearsing imaginary conversations, especially when you're being judgmental about other people's actions or silence. If I can hold that mindset, especially when I'm tired, hungry, or things aren't going to plan, then I know I'm on solid ground. As ever, please like, share, and subscribe. Throw me a comment as to what you think about today and how that affected your life or how you changed what you'll do today. Thank you very much and goodbye.